Everyone warned Mark that bringing a 65-pound, muscle-bound Bull Terrier into his home was a dangerous mistake. But when he slowly pushed open the living room door on day 3, the so-called monster was doing something that left him completely speechless. Tom wasn't growling. He was lying completely flat on his back, legs splayed stiff in the air like a frozen turkey, snoring loud enough to rattle the windows. Mark leaned against the wooden door frame, letting out a laugh he hadn't realized he'd been holding in for months. Working from home in Austin, Texas, meant staring at glowing screens all day in a quiet, isolated house. Suddenly, his living room had turned into a daily comedy club, with Tom hiding under curtains or wandering around the backyard in a weird, peaceful little trance. But this quiet, goofy illusion was about to shatter, because a 65-pound puppy has a completely different definition of interior design. Within the first 72 hours, Tom's endless energy turned the house upside down. Mark stood in his living room, rubbing his temples with both hands as he stared at the shredded remains of his favorite armchair. Wood splinters and foam stuffing looked like freshly fallen snow across the rug. The instinct for most would be to shout. Instead, Mark grabbed a frayed rope toy, knelt on the hardwood floor, and tossed it. Tom didn't need a timeout. He just needed an outlet. Soon, the two were logging 4 miles a day on the Texas trails. Once the wild energy drained out of him, the beast turned right back into a grinning clown. Things were finally settling into a perfect rhythm inside the house. But the real challenge started the moment they stepped off their front porch. When people on the street saw the distinct sloped face of a Bull Terrier, they would immediately cross the road. Mark watched parents pull their kids a little closer, the heavy weight of the stigma pressed down on Mark's chest. Yet Tom didn't care about their fear. If someone even glanced his way, he'd unleash a giant, goofy smile that stretched from ear to ear. He would wag his tail so hard his entire back half wiggled. Mark watched time and time again as strangers went from white-knuckling their coffee cups on the sidewalk to dropping to their knees, bursting into laughter as Tom melted into a puddle at their feet. It wasn't just strangers he figured out how to read. On the difficult days, when the computer screens felt too bright and the deadlines too heavy, Mark would drop his face heavily into his palms at his desk. Without a single word, a heavy, warm chin would rest softly on his knee. If a misunderstood rescue has ever saved you from your own quiet struggles, you know exactly what Mark felt in that room. Tom isn't a flawless roommate. He destroyed the furniture and chewed up the peace and quiet, but he also rebuilt a home. Before you write off a dog because of a rumor, look at the soul behind the smile. You might just find exactly what you were missing. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to follow the Healing Paw for new stories.